I want to give a special shout out to all my patrons first. Thank you so much to my Bibliospren, Bibliohowlers, and my Bibliomancers. It means a lot to me that you give me your extra support for my passion and hobby. Hi everyone, Petrik here. This video is a bit late, but today I'll be talking about all the books that I acquired last month. Like usual, I'll be dividing this into several categories. Books that I bought, books that were gifted to me, and also books that I received from traditionally published authors or publishers, and of course self-published fantasy authors as well. And then at the end it will be books from Press or Ize Press. So yeah, let's begin immediately. Let's talk about the books that I bought first. And these two books just came. I bought these two books from Book Outlet. So they were really cheap hardcovers. For example, this one, A Master of Jinn by P. J. Lee Clark. I have read this one about 2 or 3 years ago. I really enjoyed this. This was really fun. Fun steampunk fantasy or science fantasy. But at the same time, I'm kind of confused why this book still doesn't have a sequel. Was this supposed to be a standalone novel? I mean, it does kind of work as a standalone novel. But anyway, because I saw this one very cheap on Book Outlet, I think it was about $7 US, I decided to buy a hardcover of it. And hopefully there will be a sequel someday, because this was, as I said, really fun. And then after that, I also got a copy of The Great Book of Arthur and His Knights of the Round Table. This is illustrated by John Howe. That's really the main reasons why I bought this hardcover edition. The cover art and also the interior illustrations, they are incredibly beautiful. This is just one example. Plus, I have always been a fan of John Howe's artwork and also an Arthurian retelling. So, of course, I'm interested in this one. And just like A Master of Jinn, I got this one for about $8 or $9 US. So it was a bargain in my opinion. This book is fully illustrated by John Howe, who is most well known for his artwork and illustrations on the Lord of the Rings or the Middle-earth books by Tolkien. But yeah, that's the two books that I bought with my own money. And now, let's talk about review copies that were sent to me from traditional publishers. And I have two books to showcase. The first one is The Sword Unbound by Garrett Hanrahan. This is the sequel to The Sword Defiant. I haven't read this series yet, but I love his Black Iron Legacy series. But for this one, I think this is supposed to be a trilogy. So because I haven't started reading this series yet, right now, I'm just waiting for the trilogy to be completed, and then I will be reading all 3 books closer to each other. But I have the feeling I will have a great time reading The Sword Defiant and also The Sword Unbound. This is a great cover art, and the cover to the first book, in my opinion, is even better. But as far as content goes, I think The Sword Defiant and The Sword Unbound is supposed to be a homage to classic epic fantasy, such as Tolkien and The Lord of the Rings and all that. But yeah, I look forward to reading this series someday. Onward to the next one. This is a chunky book. This is Song of the Mysteries by Johnny Wirtz, the 11th and the final book in Wars of Light and Shadow series. A series 50 years in the making since its conception in Johnny Wirtz's head, about the ideas and also the themes, everything. You heard that correctly. Wars of Light and Shadow was conceived in the mind of Johnny Wirtz ever since 50 years ago, and now it is completed. And this is a review copy sent to me by Harper Voyager. So thank you so much for sending me a copy of this one. I have only finished reading the first book, but when it comes to Wars of Light and Shadow, I do not think this is a series that I can just binge non-stop. I feel like I have to be in the right reading mood for it, especially after reading through the first book. I definitely know what I'm getting into now, and it is good. It is enjoyable, but it is one series that definitely will require your attention throughout every single page. And that's all I can say about this, but I look forward to reaching this book someday, the 11th and the final book in Wars of Light and Shadow series. And now, let's move on to the self-published fantasy books that I got last month. The first 2 books are from the 8th Chant series by Elon March and Christopher Warman, Seasons of Albaddon, and also A Contract in Solforn. I haven't heard too much about this series yet, but it seems like those who have tried reading this short book, Seasons of Albaddon, it's less than 200 pages long. It seems like they really enjoyed reading this one. And they said, a lot of people who have read this book said that do not be misconstrued by the cover art. it is misleading, quite misleading, because the cover art seems to depict that it will be a cozy or a heartwarming fantasy, but it is darker than expected. That's all I know about Seasons of Albaddon, but I don't know anything about this. I think this is the sequel, A Contract in Salford. But I look forward to reading this series someday, as soon as I can, really. And after that, I also got a copy of Demon's Rage by Ben Gelly and David Estes. This is published by Raidmark, and it is the sequel to the Bloodwood Saga. I think the entire series takes place in this massive forest or giant trees with a lot of giant creatures, such as this one. Ta-da! And yeah, the cover art is done by Munsik Young, and as I said, I still haven't read anything by David Estes or Ben Gelly, and I need to fix that immediately, and right now I still don't know which series I will start with when it comes to reading Ben Gelly's books or David Estes. I think for David Estes, I will start from Faith Mark series, but for Ben Gelly, it is either from The Written or maybe Chasing Graves trilogy. When that will happen, I'm not sure. As I always say, it depends on my reading mood and also reading schedule. And finally, the last 3 self-published fantasy books that I got from authors, this is the Paternus trilogy, the hardcover edition along with the slipcase. And yeah, I'm really thankful to Dirk Ashton for sending me this beautiful slipcase edition. And yeah, I mean, I have talked about Paternus trilogy quite a lot on my YouTube channel. It is one of my favorite urban fantasy trilogy. If you love epic urban fantasy, you love mythologies from around the world, you cannot go wrong with reading the Paternus trilogy. It is a criminally underrated series, in my opinion. I really love this series, and I look forward to reading Kraken Rider Z by Dirk Ashton as soon as I can. I think that book is written together with David Estes as well. But yeah, that's all the self-published fantasy books that I got last month. Now let's talk about the special edition that I acquired last month. And yeah, there are plenty of them. The first one, I finally have a copy of the Anderida edition of The Dregs of Empire and Other Stories by Christopher Rucchio. This is the third collection of novellas or short novel and short stories compiled into one by Anderida Books. And yeah, this consists of The Dregs of Empire and also all the short stories from Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 3. I am genuinely surprised by the quality of Anderida Books. This is the first time I received a copy from them. And well, I originally thought that Anderida Books will be about the quality of Goldsboro Books, and I was wrong. This is definitely fine press quality. The paper, the Smithson binding, and also this gorgeous cover art from Kieran Yanner. This is an amazing edition, and yeah, I consider myself corrected on this, and now I'm even more excited to see what they will come up with for Empire of Silence Illustrated Anderida edition. But thank you so much to Anderida for sending me a copy of this one. I finally have an Anderida book on my bookshelves, and I'm very happy with it. And for the second one, moving on to the next one, this is from Inkstone Book. This is also the first time I received a copy from Inkstone Book. I think as far as quality goes, this is more or less similar to the quality published by The Broken Binding. I think they are in similar price range as well. But this is for The Dance of Shadows by Rogba Payne. I haven't read this one yet, but it seems like nobody have read this book yet. I checked on Goodreads and it hasn't received 100 ratings. And that's kind of a shame. I mean, the cover art looks good and also the premise do sound interesting. And yeah, this comes with the spray edges, and inside it is signed as well, and it have this this foiling on the naked hardcover or on the board art. But yeah, I look forward to reading this someday, and I want to say thank you so much to Inkstone for sending me a copy of The Dance of Shadows by Rogba Payne. And speaking of the Broken Binding just now, let's talk about all the Broken Binding books I got last month. Let's start with this one. Well, this is not a book published by the Broken Binding, but this was sent to me from the Broken Binding. This is The Narrow Road Between Desires by Petrik. It is a signed copy with interior illustrations by Nate Taylor. But note that this is not a special edition. This is a standard hardcover edition, UK hardback with cover art by Nate Taylor as well. I have read and really loved The Lightning Tree, but I don't know whether this one, the additional words will be enough to make this an even better a novella. I guess we will find out really soon because I do plan to read and review this within this year. This is about 30,000 words long. I'm sure I can get it done in a few hours. But as I said, I really love The Lightning Tree, and I think Nate Taylor's illustration will be at least an extra content to enhance the reading experience. Hopefully, it will be as good as The Lightning Tree or maybe even better. But now, let's really talk about all the special editions that I got from the Broken Binding. There are plenty of them. Somehow, they all just arrived last month. Let's start with the first one. This is The Silver Blood Promise by James Logan with the cover art by Jeff Brown. And also this comes with this beautiful edges and of course, beautiful and paper by Jeff Brown as well. I have worked with Jeff Brown on Malazan Book of the Fallen, and it is such a pleasure to work with him. This is the naked hardcover art. It goes all the way to the back, and of course there will be illustration on the back and paper as well. Ta-da! And yeah, this is signed. I really enjoyed this one. This doesn't break any new ground in the epic fantasy genre, but if you are looking into having a fun and entertaining reading experience, definitely recommend reading The Silver Blood Promise by James Logan. And this one do work as a standalone novel if you are afraid of a deadly cliffhanger. And yeah, you're not getting that in The Silver Blood Promise. Next, we have The Martian by Andy Weir. This is the first sci-fi subscription book from the Broken Binding, and it comes with a new cover art by Ray Mullen, I think, or Ray Mulligan. But yeah, this is the new cover art. This is the spine. This is the back cover. And yeah, it's very orange, just like The Silver Blood Promise. And this is the edges. I believe this one is done by Katrina Payne. But most of this edition is illustrated by Ray Mulligan. This is the naked hardcover. It is the same as the cover art, and of course it goes all the way to the back as well. But yeah, this is signed by Andy Weir. And I haven't read Artemis yet. I have read and really loved The Martian. I have read and also enjoyed Project Hail Mary. So I look forward to getting a hardcover special edition of them all. Moving on to the next one, I got the Earthseed Duology, the Broken Binding edition from Octavia Butler. I have read only the first book, Parable of the Sower, and the second one is Parable of the Talents. I haven't read this one yet. I don't know why. Last year or 2 years ago, I was in a very big sci-fi slump. Oh yeah, it was 2 years ago. I was in a very big sci-fi slump. Every time I finished reading the first book of a sci-fi series, somehow I just lost my motivation to continue. It wasn't even because the book sucks or anything like that. It was just my reading mood. And because of that, I wasn't able to finish reading Parable of the Talents. But now that I have this edition with these edges, of course, it is not signed because Octavia Butler has passed away. But yeah, I look forward to doing a second read of Parable of the Sower, and this time continuing to finish Earthseed Duology. But if you haven't read this series yet, I do think that this series, especially the first book, do stand the test of time. And then I also got the first two books in the Library trilogy by Mark Lawrence. The book that wouldn't burn, and of course the book that broke the world. The cover art to this one is done by Tom Roberts. I haven't read the Library trilogy yet, but I have read almost all of Mark Lawrence's books. The Broken Empire trilogy, the Red Queen's War trilogy, and then the Book of the Ancestor trilogy. I have read them all. I haven't finished reading the Book of the Ice trilogy. But I think for this, now that I have only one book left, I think for this one, unfortunately, I will just wait for the trilogy to be completed next year, and then I will just binge through the entire trilogy. I did try to sample the book that wouldn't burn, and I have a good feeling I will love reading the Library trilogy by Mark Lawrence. But yeah, this edition, it comes with the spray edges, but there are no additional illustrations on the end papers or on the board art. I don't mind though, I'm just happy to have these two hardcovers to read and review next year. And finally, the last two books that I got from the Broken Binding, both of them are actually from the Broken Binding Press section. And the first one is The Fall. Ta-da! This is The Fall from Ryan Cahill, The Fall by Ryan Cahill, and this is the Broken Binding Press edition. It comes with this slipcase with this illustration by Katrina Payne. Ta-da! And of course, this is the book. Let me take this out first. Ta-da! This is the cover art by Nemo Art, and it goes all the way to the back. It's beautiful. And of course, inside there are plenty of illustrations such as this end papers by Omer Burak Onal. It goes all the way to the back and paper. Yeah, it is connected. And inside, there are plenty of illustrations, interior illustrations, black and white or fully colored from Felix Ortiz and also Rene Eichner. I'm going to show a few of them. This is from Felix Ortiz. This is the black and white artwork. And let's not forget, one of my favorite artists' work, Randy Vargas, is inside as well. Let me show it to you. Oh, this is from Rene. Ta-da! It's so unfortunate that the seam kinda it kind of divide the character in the center here. So that's unfortunate, but this is a great piece of art from Rene. And now this is from Randy Vargas. Oh wait, this is first. This is from Felix Ortiz, one of the other fully colored art inside the book. And now really Randy Vargas. And this is my favorite piece from inside the book. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Randy Vargas is one of my favorite artists, and I really look forward to working with him again. But this is for the fall. I'm in the middle of working as an art director for Of Darkness and Light together with Ryan Cahill right now, and it has been fun. And finally, the last broken binding book that I got is Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. This is the first book in the Mortal Technique series, and the cover art is done by Felix Ortiz. Really love this cover art. I feel like every time Felix Ortiz do an artwork for Rob J. Hayes, it always ends up being some of his best work. Always. There is no exception. They really make a great duo. And yeah, inside we have this end paper of the original cover art of Never Die. Ta-da! But it is a full wraparound artwork with this quote printed on this, and also the same is applied to the back and the paper. But there are plenty of stuffs going on inside this edition, such as this naked hardcover on the front and back, and then gilded edges. And let's take a look inside the book. We have first this map of the 10 Kingdoms of Hosa, fully colored by Charis Loke, and I think it is a beautiful map. I do think this series definitely needed a map, and I'm so happy that we're finally getting one. And then we have black and white artwork from Felix Ortiz of the characters, such as this for Itabicho. Again, beautiful illustration, beautiful black and white illustration, and one fully colored art from Andrew Maleski. Ta-da! So yeah, overall, I'm really happy with this broken binding press edition, and I think there are still a few copies left. So if you want to get yourself a copy of Never Die broken binding press edition, you're still able to do it before it's sold out completely. And of course, last but not least, before I talk about all the Yen Press book that I got, well, this is the 5th season from The Curious King. Yeah, the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, the first book in the Broken Earth trilogy. And I have talked about this in more details in one of my videos at the end of last month. And yeah, it is an absolutely stunning edition. I am quite speechless. I thought they couldn't top the Blade itself, and I was wrong. This is somehow an even better production. I do consider the cover art to the Blade itself to be better than the cover art to this one, but the interior illustrations inside by John Anthony Di Giovanni, absolutely stunning. I cannot praise them highly enough. If you want to know my full thoughts about the 5th season Curious King edition, feel free to check out my videos, my special edition review video of this book. But suffice to say, when it comes to fine press books, well, I think Curious King is really at the top. They're really the best one. And I think they're going to top this edition really soon with their production of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. So yeah, crazy, truly crazy. They are expensive, but if this is for some of your favorite books of all time, I think you will find your payment worth the money. And now we arrive at the final section of today's book haul video. Let's talk about all the manga, manhwa, and light novels that I got from a Yen Press or Ize Press. Let's talk about Ize Press first, which is the manhwa portion. I got, well, most of these are unsolicited copies, so I don't know too much about them, but I do know something about Itaewon Class. This is a very popular K-drama. Well, the K-drama adapted the manhwa, and now the manhwa is getting physical volume, physical treatment as well. But I don't know too much about this series itself. But it is a very popular K-drama. If you do watch them, I think you will know what Itaewon Class is. And then I also got these two books. This is the Uncanny Counter, and then The Perks of being S-class heroine. I believe this one also has a K-drama adaptation, I think. But again, I could be wrong on that. I don't know too much about K-drama. Those are the 3 manhwas I got from Ize Press. Let's talk about the manga. Again, similar situation. I don't know too many things about these manga because they are unsolicited review copies, but I do know about Sword Art Online. But this is about Re-Inkrat. I have no idea what that is, but I did watch the first season of Sword Art Online and the second season as well, and then I lost interest in the anime. Unfortunately, I do think that Sword Art Online has a great premise at the beginning, but after a while, it really, well, it loses its steam, unfortunately, especially after season 1. And this is the manga. I don't know, manga adaptation, I guess. But yeah, if you know anything about this, do let me know what you think about it. And then I also got Black Summoner. And then, what is this? My Gemini. I think this one is Jekyll and Hyde, so it is probably adapted from that. And then, Adult Picture Book, a new edition by Kei Itoi, which I believe is a comedy. Yeah, it is a comedy manga. And finally, let's move on to the light novel. I got 6 light novel here, and as I said, I don't know anything about them. I haven't read a lot of light novels yet. I will just mention this to you. First, I got Brunhilde, the Dragon Slayer, and then Classroom for Heroes, Amalgam Hound, and then You Cannot See the Snow by Rokudo Ningen, which I believe will be a magical realism. Similar to this one, The God of Nishi Yugahama Station. And finally, Once Upon a Witch Death, The Tale of the 1000 Tears of Joy by Saka, illustration by Chor Fuji. But yeah, that's all the books that I got from Yen Press, Ize Press, and also Yen On. Yen On is for the light novel section. Really, Yen Press is a massive company, and I really want to say thank you so much to every publisher, friend, and also authors who keep on sending me books to read and review. I know that I have a lot. As you can tell from my monthly book haul videos, I always receive a lot of books, and I'm thankful. I'm truly thankful for all of them. And that's really it. That's all the books that I got last month. Do let me know what you think about my book haul videos. Which of these books I showcase looks the most interesting to you. And do tell me how many books you acquired last month and which one was your favorite book acquisition. As always, thank you so much for watching and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.